Hello, everybody. This is Nick Tiro, Professor of Information Technologies and Computer Science, Lakeland Community College. All right, there's a term that's often used in cybersecurity, and that's called an air gap. Sometimes it's air gap network, or they'll just say air gap. And what does that really mean? Well, it's probably the most secure way of protecting networks. Let me go up to my screen, little graphic up here, and maybe you'll better understand it. Basically, what an air gap is a gap. It's two networks that aren't connected together. They're not connected by Wi-Fi. They're not connected by a wire. They're not connected by anything. So we say when there's two separate networks or multiple networks and they're not connected, we're saying they're air gapped. It is the single easiest cybersecurity that you can implement. Yeah, you may have something over here. You may have a network where it's just the computer and the cell phone, and they're connecting to each other. That's one thing. But the air gap is between one network and another network. This is the air gap. Nothing's going to cross that boundary. There's a great movie I can't show up on the screen. The original Mission Impossible, where they talk about the secret list that that they keep all the spies' name on. They call it the knock list, the knock list. And it's in a self-contained computer in CIA headquarters. And Tom Cruise has to come down through the ceiling because they can't touch. That's air gapped, right? That computer is not networked to any other computer. If you want content off that computer, you got to be sitting at that computer. So that's one avenue of cybersecurity. There's another one when we talk about forensics. In forensics, we may have to test something. We may discover something on a phone, on a drive, and we're not confident what it may be. So they will often put that item, let's say it's a program. They're not going to run that on the network. What if it has malware? What if it's a worm? What if you start infecting your entire network? So what they'll do is they'll go over to a computer that's not connected to anything, that if that computer was to get malware on it, they can just start over from scratch. It's not connected. It's not physically connected. It's a self-contained computer, and they'll launch those programs, and they'll see what those programs could potentially do. So it's a common word you're going to hear a lot in cybersecurity. It's called air gap. It just means there's nothing connecting those devices. There's air between them, and we're not worried about Wi-Fi because the devices aren't talking to each other. It's an air gap. That being said, let's go out and learn something.